Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. Welcome back to all the at the buzzers.
Welcome back to our buzzer beaters. Welcome back. Hopefully, everybody had a great weekend, great start to the week. It is Monday. Technically, it's Tuesday, but it felt like a Monday. Most Monday feeling Tuesday I've ever felt. Audio video is good. Thank you, Bruno. Welcome everyone to At the Buzz, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay, the Topstep Performance Coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experience, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You are all our chat, our audience. Let us know how you did on the day. Were you up today, down today? Maybe you were having a hangover from the holiday, didn't trade at all. I see Sid says, insane day, got killed shorting. Sid, so did I. Shorted a little too early in the NASDAQ, paid for it. But that is why we manage risk. Let us know how you did. We'll get into the charts. Totally not waiting for confirmation. Shorting killed me today. That'll do it. That will do it, Sid. Did my mouse just die? All right. Yeah, not waiting for confirmation. That's what it was for me as well, right? The 220 short was a decent trade, but it was a way better trade on the way down than it was up. And there was some volume signature up there that could have told us it was a better short later in the session. Um, Gold got you rich. Yeah, gold probably got a lot of people, and is why we made all-time highs there. Because a lot of people said, no, this can't go any higher. Uh, watch this. Great day trading gold for Mr. Open Ion, up 1,300 trading gold. Nice trade. Great stuff. Let's get into the news. We did have some numbers come out this morning. We had a S&P manufacturing PMI final come out at 53.0. Forecast was 53.3. We also had ISM manufacturing come out at 48.7. Forecast was 49. Outside of that, there was some news on Google, uh, some news on Taiwan Semiconductor and the waiver for tariffs being pulled. Anything else you see on the news, Coach Paul?
Nothing much. After the long weekend and the concerns of a president being missing who showed up, nothing really big. One the meeting between India, China, and Russia. I think
Okay.
that has a longer. I think that affected gold. Um, so I think that's the biggest news over the weekend is um, a change in alignment in world powers. I think that's a longer story, and it's something that can't be ignored.
Oh, we go. We know that uh, Sunday or Monday, yesterday, Monday, was not a full trading day. We did have a little bit of a holiday there. So these percentages that we talk about are going to be from Friday's settlement price. But either way, 35 different markets we can trade with top step accounts. And today, to the downside, we had wheat futures down 1.08%, soybeans down 1.38%, and soybean meal, our biggest percentage mover, to the downside at 1.97%. To the upside, we had platinum up 3.33%, RBOB gasoline futures up 3.62%, and heating oil, our biggest percentage mover, to the upside at 4.48%. JD says the indexes are way too exciting right now. Yeah, they're moving. I mean, look at this day in the NASDAQ. They were 250-point trade in both directions in the Nasdaq during the New York session. Uh, is summer trading over? I hope so. Uh, did it ever
Um,
really? Did it ever
well,
really start?
officially it is.
You're right.
Plus, vacations are over, school is back. Um, so it was the first trading day in September, and had some nice ranges in many different contracts. So, yeah, I think that although it wasn't that dull, I don't,
The summer, yeah, the
this
summer wasn't
summer,
that dull. No, it wasn't too bad. It could be worse. Could be worse. Maybe the
yeah.
last 2 weeks or so weren't great, but, it wasn't too bad at all. Let's talk about our big 4. We had crude oil up 2.41%, the S&P down 0.46%, gold making new all-time highs, trading above 3,600, 2.39%, and the Nasdaq down 0.4%. Saw someone in the chat say, "Is Chike's 64.52 about to get hit?" Chike had the call of the day not once but twice in the equities. Uh, Dude is a great trader. If you are not watching fast markets when Chike is on, and again, anything we say on this show and from anyone is not investment or trading advice. Chike doesn't give out the full sauce to his trading, but that's somebody who knows what they're talking about. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq chart, Coach Paul, on a daily. What are we looking at here?
Well, we tagged that 50-day moving average and bounced nicely off of it. We're trapped in between the 20 and the 50. Um, but this is I mean, this tags to the lowest in about a month. So we weren't on Friday for the monthly chart. Let's look at the monthly. Now, the last, there's the summer range right there. Well, all happened in July, but being between that 20 and 50, and it's losing some steam here. Um, uh, it can make a case that it's prime for a turnover, but heck, these are stocks. No, it doesn't
They're
turn
meant to
over
go
for
up.
very long.
Buy the
So
dip.
nothing much in that monthly chart, but pretty big range for the first day of the month.
Pretty big range. We're talking about a 480 point range. Again, that know, some of that is, did we get great trading on Monday? But that was a legit range from 6 p.m. from the Globex Open last night. We were really just selling off. Let's go to that Globex Open, which we're looks like we're about to trade back to. But 23,510s is where we opened up. Let me make sure I got the right date there because we got this little weird rollover stuff. I mean, not rollover, holiday stuff going on. Today is the second. So we're under that 200 moving average. And from last night, Coach Ball, this was pretty clean sell. Uh,
Yeah, that was when we had urgency. We had passed the deck and had more selling. Um, and then climaxed here uh, s- on the opening here, but on the first half an hour, really.
on the open.
Um, but look what happened when we got above the VWAP from last night. When we closed above it, it forced later this afternoon we had short
Yep.
covering.
Yeah.
Um, is what I meant to say. But I mean, two things last night that really exacerbated this was what was going on in the White House. Um, it was, it was very vague. Came out with a 1 o'clock central news conference, and I think that brought the market back into short covering mode. That nothing of really happened, um, and really caught some shorts. What do you see?
Initially, pretty great sell last night. I was not trading last night. I was on slow markets with Dakota, but was taking care of some stuff. So wasn't really placing any trades. Um, We see that selling pick up during the London session. Uh, and then the New York session was a two-sided trade, right? Again, 250 points high to low. There was a trade on both sides. And if we look at a shorter time frame, let's go down to a 3-minute chart. Uh, that first 3 minutes, like you said, we found where the buyers were. I think Chike's initial long call was 23.44 in the Nasdaq, and I think he said he cut the trade because he didn't want to call the bottom, right? Where we tell traders all the time, oh, don't catch a falling knife. Uh, but some cases you got to pick the knife up, and it would have been a great trade. But ultimately, he took it again. We got some urgency on that opening range in the Nasdaq as well, right? VWAP left that range pretty early. The trade that I ended up taking, which was a loser, was trying to short it against this VWAP just a little too early in this 220 area. This is the Nasdaq, so like the Nasdaq is going to do, it ran that level by 50 points. Was a decent spot to look. We did have some 9 a.m. numbers, which is this candle right here. Is the right read waiting for these 9 a.m. numbers to come out and then taking the trade, knowing where I can limit my risk based on those numbers. In hindsight, yes, but in real time, this is why we say wait for numbers to come out. Uh, right back down to that opening range, tag the opening range low to the tick, and bounced another 250 points off of it. So uh, two-sided trade. If the equities are going to continue to do this, you don't need to trade a ton of size, don't need to trade a ton of leverage. Coach Paul, we were in the green room talking about, you could do a lot with micros in this market. And if we get 250 point ranges, then is that going to happen all the time? No, I wish it would, but there's more than enough that you could do with some micros. Switch it over to the S&P really quick, Coach Paul, because we had a similar trade, and I think you said you did take this one. Uh, Here is last night's open in the S&P. Very similar story. Right off the open, selling coming in and 100 points to the downside before the two-sided trade of the New York session.
Yeah. Once again, it's same trade, urgency, um, and really it get exacerbated in Europe. I don't whatever happened in Europe, but really started picking up steam. But you know, at one point it was what 100 lower.
Yep. 100 points lower.
If you are short from that time, what more do you expect? And this is a lesson I had to learn. Oh, this is the time it's going to be 200 lower.
It's the big one.
Not your job. Literally, not your job. If you didn't cover shorts, um, you got to look at yourself and ask, am I being greedy?
We got
I
a
know. Yep,
Go ahead, Coach Paul.
I know I can get greedy. I used to. Like, wow, this is if it just continues lower. Um, we didn't, you know, look at the daily range. Today's range, including yesterday, was what 220 points in the S&P.
Yep, 120 points.
120 points. Uh, if you didn't cover shorts down there, you could look at yourself and ask, how much more range can we expect? Um,
We do
so
have some news coming out here. It looks like we got Google not required to sell Chrome in court
yeah,
antitrust ruling. So Google's up about 6% right now. Looking at Apple up as well. Judge rules Google will not have to sell Android operating system. Doesn't have to sell Chrome. Would have been a big thing. Uh, Google is not required to cease payments to Apple and others for preloading Google products. So favorable for Google here,
yeah,
and we're seeing it rally right now.
good. I still won't use Chrome. You can't
There we
make
go.
me. All right. Well, good for it. Good for them.
For Google. All right, let's get over to gold. Let's get over to gold. Anything else on the equities you want to talk about, Coach Paul?
What? What did the Dow and Rusty do?
Take a look at the Russell, pulled back just a little bit, it looks like. All of these markets are still in the Jackson Hole Powell speech candle on the daily. That says here. Looks like the Russell tested down to about 50% of it.
Yep.
What was the announcement? Google does not have to sell Chrome. Let's take a look at the 30-minute. Not a whole lot of movement in the overnight, but very similar trade to everything else. Sold off during London, continued through New York, and then found that range.
Yeah, nothing much there.
And the
Same story.
Dow, very much, yeah, they all look the same right now, which we don't always see, right? Sometimes there's a little bit of a divergence between the four, but there we go. I thought there was a Tops of X announcement. Uh, Tops of X announcement. I didn't see one, but maybe. Never know. Somebody leaking something on Topstep Twitter? Probably. Uh, Stay tuned. Okay, let's move over to gold. Let's move over to gold. On
Ugh.
the daily chart, new all-time highs. Finally, finally, they did it. 6 times we tested these equal highs here. 35 30s. We were talking about this, Coach Paul, that, I think we said it last week. How many times do they knock before you open the door? And when this momentum breaks, it's not a move that you want to fade. Uh, and that's kind of what we got. What are you seeing on this daily?
Well, on the daily here, we taught the line of most resistance, um, that hits what, 7 times. But yesterday, since there's no Labor Day celebration in China or in Europe, um, a nice gold had a nice rally Monday, and it settled. I mean, look, it settled above that resistance. Um, and just set it up for what's happening now.
Here's
Let's look at the
Sunday's
opening from Sunday night.
Sunday's price action right here. And right as that Asia session is getting started, right, that volume comes in. Exactly like you said, Coach Paul, they closed it above that 35-30 area, and we didn't look back.
We went back and looked at it but actually
This morning
last
we came
night.
somewhat close, yeah, 35-40s, 35-39 overnight lows. But once we got above that,
Yeah, nice J trade there, also off the low on the
seller
half hour.
beware.
And boy, I don't know when are we going to hit 4,000?
With all of the with how
Could be
long,
soon.
yeah, so I was gonna say with how long we were in this consolidation, it's been 100 and what was it? 133 days since we made an all-time high in gold. And we finally did it. And with the amount of inventory that was able to, if someone's building an inventory for the next leg up, they had all the time in the world to do it. Now, maybe they didn't get the prices they wanted, but they had all the time in the world to build an inventory in gold here. And that next leg up, and if we zoom out and you look at a higher time frame, when gold does break out of these consolidations, and this might be the longest one we've had in a little while. I'm looking at whatever this is right here, about 90 days before we started to break out, make new all-time highs. Uh, these aren't small rallies, Coach Paul, once we start going.
No.
So uh,
Well,
should be an interesting. Is gold back to being the best market to trade?
oh, but God, yes. Look at that. Um, well, like I said, part of the news, and it wasn't headline. I mean, realignment, especially with India and China and Russia. Um, they're gonna. Weak for the dollar, or not even that. Is it's gold. This kind of you can see it right after that announcement. That meeting was made. We've rallied what, $100.
Yep.
So there's really nothing to stop this now. Um, I, like I said, I'm serious. What could be quick before we're talking $4,000.
Not far off. Let's see what we're talking about percentage wise. That'd be about a 10% move from where we are, a little over 10% move from where we are. Uh,
Which, like you said, when we break out of a long range, um, you get new
goes.
buyers adding to winners, central bank weakness, U.S. Fed independence being attacked. This is these are times that gold is made for, and it's showing it.
Absolutely. 3602, and I think gold is making new highs as we speak right now. For Din, I do not have an update on the race to live between Dakota and Baron. I know those guys are focused on their trading, and Dakota is back in a combine. That is correct. Uh, what I do want to remind everybody is, we'll give updates on it. We'll give updates on it. I don't have them personally. The team has them, but you know, it was like after a week, people were asking, "All right, who won?" The goal was to get back to a live account, so it was going to take months before we even had a winner. But we will give an update on that. I believe we said we were going to give an update on that this week, but those updates do not come from me; they come from the team. But that was going to be it was going to be a journey for sure. Not something that, yeah, I actually don't even think you can get into a live account in a week. Uh, crude oil, crude oil, Coach Paul. What are we looking at?
Starting to gain momentum with gold, black gold. It was still rounding up that cup and the handle. I think look at the buy volume. That was a little bit. It's the biggest volume we had. We've come back out of the summer doldrums. We had a nice rally up a buck and a half. Pretty big rally. Um, we broke that downtrend line from the monstrous down day. Starting, we're above the 200, the 20, and the 50, and it's all rounding up. Looks like it can gain momentum.
It
Um,
does closed above that trend line. Um,
yeah, it's,
Looking pretty
imagine
good.
if we get short covering it. Oh,
That huge short position.
yeah, it's uh, very interesting. Is that still true? Well, I don't see any volume here that would change that.
Same.
So
We will see.
looking good.
We know the president wants it under $60 right now. Crude oil futures trading 65.53. House account had a pretty nice crude oil trade on this morning. We take the opening call trade, opening range trade every morning during the opening call. We didn't put a poll. I think we did put a poll out, and it did say the 5 minute. Here is the 5 minute opening range. JD says OPEC meets on September 9th. Keep your eyes out for that OPEC meeting if you are trading crude oil. We broke to the upside, 5 minute opening range, and did not look back. Part of the reason Hogue and JD want to take this trade every morning is because when it does play out, uh, it's the auto liquidator's job to close it. I know Hogue closed some at 65.75, pretty much the high tick of the market for the day. Great close by Hogue. And I think the rest of the position had to be taken off somewhere in this range. But just a really nice trade, right? Simple execution. But with these simple execution trades, Coach Paul, it looks real easy. And we say it all the time in hindsight. Oh, yeah, you just buy it on this opening range breakout and you leave it. But how the difficult part is, we could measure this real quick. It takes me 2 seconds to measure how much this market moved. What doesn't get measured is the amount of time that it took to sit in this trade and let it play out, right? We're talking at least 4 hours to get to that high. And it's a trade that can really work. But when you do your back testing, right, and this goes for anybody, consider how much time it actually takes for your trades to play out. Coach Paul, I have a VIP that said she wanted to hold on to trades longer. Her average trade time was about 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes. So her focus right now is entering a trade and then not looking at anything less than a 30-minute chart. uh, because we have to let the trades play out right now. If I'm looking at a 1 minute chart or a 3 minute chart or a 5 minute chart after I get in, I get new information every 1, 3, or 5 minutes. And that might be enough information to scare me out of a great trade. Uh, how do you hold on to trades longer, Coach Paul?
Um, well, first of all, getting in, I look at the half hour, the daily, the half hour, and I'll execute on a 3 minute for day trading. But once I have it in, and we've talked about the principles of successful traders, you know, have like there is that's a trading plan. They have to trade the breakout of the opening range. Then you have to predefine your risk at entry. How much are you willing, or more important, you could be willing to lose a lot more than you can afford. Big distinction. See what you can afford. Does it fit in your account size? Then accept it. What does it mean? Accept it. This is the cost. You want if you want to get you want to drink champagne or you want to drink beer. Um, accept the cost, enter it, put it in, frame it out with your um, stop and take profit, and then I go to the half an hour. Like you just said, if you're watching every tick, this is like, what's that doing to you? To your inside, your into your into your psyche. Every there's three ticks that go against you and one that for you, no, you start called the swearing at the mark. Oh, now the tinfoil hat comes on. They know my trade. No, they don't. They don't give a damn. You mean nothing. You got to come to that because the only thing you can control is your entry and exit. Have a plan, understand it. But I'm telling, at least for me and for a lot of people I've coached, when you're sitting there watching every tick, you're going to get anxiety, impatience. You start cutting off trades. You veer from your plan. So I like to hear that she's looking at that. Once you look for it, whatever you're executing, there's the the shorter term is the execution of the trade. And once you get that into a routine, don't why. Matter of fact, I think I challenge some of my traders just to walk away. Go do something. You go make lunch. Go to the store. It's here. You've done your job. Staring at it is not. It doesn't help. I hope that helps people.
Absolutely. Absolutely does. All right. We went through the big four. That was pretty quick. Uh, wow, we got a half an hour left here. What do we talk about? Anything else you want to talk about, Coach Paul? Any other markets that may be moving?
Yeah,
Chat. If
let's
you
look
guys
at
have any questions, let us know.
now when we have a big unemployment today. So let's look at bonds. Haven't looked at them in a while.
You have non-farm payrolls coming out on Friday. Someone did say okay, so we got some questions here. Steven asked, "What is the J trade?" And then someone else did ask earlier, "What is the approach to the data coming out?" If somebody can give me the date for the last JOLTS report and the last non-farm payroll, if you can, chat, and we'll go through that. What are you seeing here on in the bonds, Coach Paul? Let's go to a daily. That was a 4 hour chart. Let's go to a daily. To the
We're
30 year.
just sitting underneath this 200 and it's gone flat. Now the big spikes are on on non-farm payrolls, um, big indecision. Um, it's really going sideways, but lately it's turned. The volume is picking up to the downside. Not much news. Um, one thing we didn't mention is that the court case declaring um, Trump's tariffs illegal. Um,
That did happen this weekend, didn't it? Or
yeah,
today?
we didn't mention that. That's huge news.
It is.
That was not good for bonds because the government's not taking in tariffs into the treasury, or for now, until the next announcement. But um, bonds still haven't cleared. They're still in a downtrend. Um, very dull lately. But I imagine that here, starting in September, we're going to break out of this little range. Um,
We got a
so,
question here on bonds. If India and other countries are buying gold and selling U.S. Treasuries, how does that affect the bond market and the case for lowering rates?
well, one of the things they would like to do is challenge the U.S. because we are a debtor nation. Um, I don't have to tell you how big our debt is. Um, so one of the things I'd imagine they would do is stop buying treasuries, and the U.S. treasuries were used by, and still are, but as a safe haven asset. You know you're going to get paid. You put it in other central banks, other countries would put the excess into U.S. treasuries. That was a really good deal for the U.S. Now, they don't trust the U.S. They can start allocating more to gold, silver, commodities, whatever. Um, that would really hurt the bond market because a source of funding, you're going to have to raise rates to attract more capital. We'll see. I'm not saying any of those things are happening, but that's the basic fundamentals of the market.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. Seeing some consolidation here, but with the data coming out later in the week, we may see some volatility in Treasury market as well. All right, I got some requests here for platinum, silver. Let's take a look at platinum uh, first on a daily. What are you seeing here, Coach Paul? I see a bounce off the 50-day moving average.
Yeah, we had that last week. That that market looks really bullish to me. Um, wow. Why? Look at the selling. Look at the volume that was selling. What did they get? Uh, I mean,
Nothing. They got nothing for it.
matter of
I'm looking at
fact,
this July 30th candle. We're still inside of it. Similar to gold, right? Uh, it's the high 1440. What is that high exactly? 1439.80. If we start to get some daily closes above, or one daily close above that, very similar to what happened in gold, is what I'd be looking for here in platinum.
yeah. Look at the half an hour. Yeah, we're above the 200 in the half an hour. Going to be an interesting opening, I think, tonight. Um, it was probably some gold, platinum hedging that drove it lower. If but that's still an up market. Like, hmm,
When are we? I mean, we already did trade 1500s a little earlier this year. Do we not see another run at it that was in the towards the end of July? 1511. I think there was an article this morning that said platinum is trading 14-year highs that we haven't seen. So, interesting market here. Let's take a look at silver really quick on the daily. Very similar. All the metals, when they run, they tend to run together. Pretty indecisive day here in silver. I think everyone was just, gold. Gold was the show. So, most of the money looked like it went over there to gold. But what are you seeing in silver here, Coach Paul? Another market that we got to zoom out pretty far to see when we
well,
were up here last.
silver's been on a great run. Let's look at the. Is that is that the monthly?
This is a monthly.
Man, $50 silver coming. That's all I can say on that chart.
When's the
Don't think
last? I gotta
I
look.
prefer to
When's
trade silver in cash. I don't. The futures are just insane.
Yeah,
Although
25 hours a tick.
micro. micro silver. There's no one. There's no one. There's maybe less than a half a percent of top step traders who can afford to trade big silver. Look at the
Yeah.
right here. What was today's range?
Uh, High to low range today in silver. I mean, it pretty much closed where it opened, but it was 200 ticks.
Times $50.
A lot of money,
Yeah,
a lot of
do the
risk,
math.
a lot of
It's
risk in that market.
no the micros. hmm, that makes sense, but silver, that thing, that looks like it's next on the list. Um,
SIL, I did once, won't do it again, says return of the MACD. The SIL is the micros, right? $5 a tick instead of 25. Uh, there we go. CFT in the chat. What's up, CFT? Live trader with Topstep CFT. Let's just short the NASDAQ the rest of the years. I think we'll be fine. You go first, CFT. You go first. Let me know. Uh, let me know how it goes. That thing looks like it just wants to grind to the upside, but we'll see. Uh, is there one more big pullback before the end of the year? Uh, all right. We got
well,
NFP dates. Go ahead, Coach Wall.
while you're doing that, let's look at Bitcoin.
Fine.
Start with
Micro
the daily,
Bitcoin. Little bit of a bounce here. Little relief here in Bitcoin.
following the stocks, but still, oh, we're getting close to 200. But that 20 and the 50 have crossed. Um, Not a market I want to play with it right now. I haven't traded it in a couple weeks now. Um, See what happens if we touch the 200-day moving average.
Before 662 is that price 200 moving average on the daily in micro Bitcoin. I did see some people on Twitter, some crypto Twitter people talking about, hey, is this the pullback? Are we getting ready to see it? Comparing, uh, the last time we saw strength in Ethereum and then what happened with Bitcoin afterwards. A little bit of a different scenario here where I think there's a lot more institutional money in Bitcoin, like you said, Coach Paul, moving like the equity markets now. Uh, so do we get that same pullback? But from that all-time high, got a little bit of a trend line, holding it for now. Let's see if the hodlers can take over again. All right, we got some questions here, and then I want to look at that last JOLTS report for whoever asked, what are we doing with the data? Chauncey says, seeing value in the ES is moving by back into weeks value. Huh? Chauncey, can you reword that question? I'm trying to.
Seeing value in the ES is moving by back into last week's value area. Do you look
Okay,
for
gotcha.
longs back into it or wait for enter? Um, Actually, it's a good question. Let's go to the ES on last week's value area.
Volume profile here. Give us 1 second. Seeing price into last week's value. All right, got you. Okay, so last week's dates were the 20 here, here. Strange, really? Yes, it was. All right. So what Chauncey's saying, you look for longs back into it, into this value area. Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're seeing, right? If you were looking at volume profile, I think you'd be looking for acceptance into this value area low, which is at 64.60, we'll call it, right? And then you're looking for acceptance back into value for the rotation to the other side, right? Which is up at 6,500. So I think that would be the trade, Chauncey. Maybe that's what we got down here at these lows. The question is, where do you set risk on that, right? Are you risking this new low for that trade? But yeah, I think you would be looking for price acceptance back into value for the rotation to the other side for maybe value to move higher at that point. How would you look at that, Coach Paul?
Well, into that, I'm looking at the last 20 days, and there's an old 20-day breakout rule. We went to the bottom of the last 20 days, almost did a tick. We're finding value. Um, we could have a J trade here. Look at this on high volume selling. Um, yeah, I like that idea. Now mark out those lows. This is how many times have we come there? 4 or 5 times. We're basically in a range. Um, if that's the way if you found success doing that, I can see why you would want to do that. But let's just get carried away. To me, I'm looking at the 200-day bar moving average on the half hour. We're still in a bull market. We're always in a bull market in stocks. Um, we're still below that. So it's got some, to me, it's got some work to do. I almost want to sell it if we get up to 84.80 area. But um, there is a nice wick.
So funny that you mentioned that J trade, because someone in the chat had asked earlier, what is a J trade? Steven. So what we're looking at, Steven, is high volume at what is the extreme of a move, usually at the high or the low of the move. You can see it. We're looking at a daily chart, but you can apply this to any chart, and we're seeing it play out on a daily chart right now. This is the highest volume that candle that we have, and it's at the low of this most recent move. What we're looking for is a candle close outside of that range, taking the trade in the direction of the break and risk going on the other side. Uh, that ties into someone who asked, how do we approach all the data that's coming out? This J trade happened on August 1st, which somebody told me was the last NFP date that we had. We got NFP coming up on Friday today. So, and I remember all through August, we were talking about this monthly open candle, Coach Paul, which was that August 1st candle. Uh, that was the low of the session today, the high of that candle when we had NFP. So we are in a couple of days going to get a new anchor point to watch how the market responds to. Let's go to candle. Sure, that was NFP day. Looks like it. Yeah. All right. So we had this, on the day itself. I'll frame out that candle. Watch how the market responds to it. Right. I'll frame out the candle, attach view up. The price breaks to the upside, VWAP is still flat. Is this an opportunity to fade this initial move? But then eventually, as the volume comes in for that New York session, it's pulling volume lower. So then just watching really how the market responds around this range for any news event. Jolts was July 29th, chat said. Chat, I'm going with the dates that you guys gave me. Hopefully these are right, but I trust you guys. Uh, Jolts, July 29th. Jolts usually comes out before the market opens, right? Or is that a 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock number?
It's a 9 o'clock number.
The 9 o'clock number, right?
Yeah.
This would be it here. Those dates, right? July 29th. Either way, same idea. Frame out the high volume candle. And, we're framing these because they're news candles. But Coach Paul, I think I would do the same thing on a random high volume news candle that pops up in the middle of the day, right? So whether it's news that
Trade it.
causes the volume or volume that causes the volume, I'm going to trade it the same way.
Uh, um, Now, in coming into that, we would highly recommend to trade, do not trade in front of the number. See how the number reacts and go from there. It's here. If we look, is this what is this? Non-farm payrolls?
I think so. Last non farm was the first. So let me go back to there. Uh, yeah, here you go.
All right.
23
So
23 point candle.
23-point candle in the S&P. So it's an $1,150 candle on a mini.
Means I can make $1,150.
Yeah, if you bought the low and sold the high. Okay, you might have been able to do that. Is that a high probability? I'd say no. But understanding once that came out, now you have some a picture, a framing of a puzzle. Okay, two things. It's notoriously thin. Market makers aren't there to get in front of it. They're waiting. That's why we have these huge ranges. Liquidity is taken out. I mean, you can go ahead if you have you could have a process that you can figure out what the number is going to do before it comes out. On, then go ahead. But if you don't, why get in front of it? I mean, it's like the fullback coming. It is you're you're a safety, and a fullback is just cut and broken through the line. Yeah, can you just get flattened or wait for your teammates to help you bring that beast down. Um, it just there's no sense to me. A 23-point range. You bet it. You have to be right for most accounts. At Top Step, you have to be right
See if you're trading the minis. Probably
if
if
you're
you're trading the
trading minis.
micros.
Yep. Yeah. Well, then 1/10. It's still 11, $150.
Well, who's trading
Um.
one?
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, or fortunately, one of the lessons, and we go over it from time to time, is position sizing. I mean, it's extremely important. I don't think it's you can have the greatest trading plan or system, and if you don't size it right, it's not going to work. Um, some of the greatest hedge fund managers, traders came from blackjack tables and poker tables. It's the truth. They had a system. They had a plan. What was it? But they had an edge. But your edge isn't going to do any good if you blew it on one bet or two bets, and now you have no, you don't have a bankroll. Position sizing. So, like, we see this a lot. I put on three minis, and fuck, I made $5,000. All right, good. Now, can you keep it? Because if that was over leverage and you happen to be right, I mean, is that going to last over time? So understand, you need to position your size. It's extremely important. It'll help you stay in the game and also help you become a better trader. All right, I think I'll get off my little pulpit now.
I think that is what we needed to hear, Coach Paul. It doesn't matter how good your trade setup is. If you don't have an account to trade it, there has been. That's not Charles Barkley. Anyone remember Space Jam? Remember Charles Barkley shows up at the gate? Not Charles Barkley. You're just one wanna be that looks like him. Uh, you don't want to be that person, right? So don't over leverage. Be there to be able to trade your trade setups. Van Johnson says, so you are boxing out the news candles from the first NFP to form the bias. Is this correct? Yeah, for that day, Van. And then what we'll see is right. So the reason we're doing that, right? What's the logic behind that? It's a market moving event, and if we look on the daily in the Nasdaq, Look at this volume. I think there was something else that came out on August 1st as well, but look at how the markets responded to this range, right? We've either in the S&P, we didn't trade back inside this range at all, kept testing the high of it. But in the Nasdaq, we keep testing down to 50% of it even today, right? So for a day trade, I'm going to focus on, how the market trades around that level. But then for, going forward throughout the rest of the month, I'm going to do the same thing, right? And it's a frame of reference. You may have heard Hogan and I talk about 50% of this candle a lot last month during the opening call, and this is why, right? Because the market, for whatever reason, wants to keep responding to it. Now, every time it does it, uh, you know, last one, two, three times it did it, it was a pretty damn good buy opportunity in the Nasdaq. So, yeah, paying attention to where the market traded and reacted to something. That could be Powell's speech. It could be, this non-farm handle. It could be anything. Any major market moving events. Just want to know how the market continues to trade around them because not every market participant is a day trader, right? And there might be somebody building some inventory in this area here. Uh, all right. I think we did it, Coach Paul. I think we did it. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I don't want to over emphasize anything, but before we go, just and I want to go back to the context of sizing. W- If you're just learning how to trade, you need to really define your process. If in doing that, trade small. Well, like I said, the greatest traders ever, and the ones I know started out in corn, oats, places where they could make mistakes, places where they could learn, places where they could hone their craft, and then they got bigger. But if you struggle where you have big success and you give it all away, the old saying is, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. To do that right, you have to learn how to position size. So anything out of today and a lesson is for most traders, and I know I had to go through it the hard way, learn how to position size. And then with that, you become a better trader. And that's it for today.
Coach Paul, thank you for that. We got who is this? Just said it in the chat. Locke Wayman says, Coach Jay, I use your technique to make some money in my live account using the Anchored VWAP. First time using it. Uh, I'm glad to hear it worked. I'm glad to hear it worked. Why I'm laughing is, at some point we got to take risk as traders. If this is your first time using it, I would suggest, and this is just my suggestion, try anything new in a practice account first, where it doesn't cost you anything. But I love to hear that it worked out. And thanks for sharing. I got nothing else. Coach Robert just did a class in Discord. I think he might still be going. We got Coach Hoop coming up after him. And then Coach Ray and Coach Vince at 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. I see Coach Vince in the chat. What up, Coach Vince? And then we have Coach Dakota for slow markets tonight. I think he might have a guest on slow markets. And then we got Aaron with the London Open, he with the Euro trade, and we'll be back for the opening call. We'll see what happens with that JOLTS number tomorrow. Trade well, everybody. Manage your risk. Do something fun off the charts when work is done for the day, and we will see you all tomorrow.
All right. Bye.
Hit the like button if you haven't done.